Hello, kids, and welcome to September's edition of the Storytelling Sessions by us, the volunteers of the Jane Goodall Institute here in Singapore. As always, I am Safari Sid, hello, and up here we have Ida. Ida helps us do all the sign language for us so that it helps everyone to be able to enjoy the stories once again. Now, we have a wonderful lineup of stories for you this time, and an amazing storyteller, or two, should I say, that you're going to be able to enjoy for this month's storytelling sessions. Now, kids, do you tell stories? I tell stories all the time. Some of them are true, some of them are made-up fictional stories. And it's so important to tell stories. As a matter of fact, our founder, Dr. Jane Goodall, also believes very strongly that storytelling is one of the most important ways that we can spread the message of conservation. And if you think about it, kids, we've been telling stories since the beginning of time. They would sit around campfires and telling stories about the stars and the trees and the wild and the animals. And from then all the way till now, we still tell stories. We tell stories all the time, and it's one of the best ways for us to be able to remember and retain information. And it has been a very effective tool for us to be able to do that for so many years, and for us to learn so much about the world and about ourselves. So we strongly encourage you to do what we do as well and tell stories. They could be things that you've seen on your way to school. They could be things that you've learned at home. You can find a way to put it into an amazing story. And that doesn't have to be just the way we tell stories like this. It could be through drawings and through art and through so many different mechanisms, maybe even photography, if you like. There's a great way, so many great ways to tell stories. Now, today's first story is going to be told by our very own storyteller, our beloved Shann Shine, who's back with us to tell another lovely story. And the story today is Dolphin Travel Troubles, and it's by the Raffles Eco-Literacy Program. So I hope you enjoy the first story, and I can't wait for us to tell you more.
Thanks, Sid. Hi, everyone. I'm Shan, and today I will be reading Dolphin Travel Troubles. Isn't that such a cute little dolphin? We would like to thank the students of the Raffles Ecological Literacy Program for giving us a beautiful story to read. The Tan family had been looking for a new home ever since their old one was hit by an oil spill. They still felt a little ill from all the oil that they had swum into. As they surfaced for a breath, they wondered where they could go next. It was then that the dolphins noticed a fin moving toward them in the distance. Who could it be? Nice to meet you. My name's Sam. Hi there. I'm Grandma Betsy, and this is my granddaughter May. I'm Mama Sally, May's mother, and this is my son, Freddie. You should turn back, Sam. There's been an oil spill, and now we're looking for a new home. A new home? Would you like to follow me back to the Sisters Island Marine Park? There's plenty of food and space over there. The dolphins didn't know if they should trust this curious-looking stranger, but they really needed to rest, so they agreed to follow Sam. And off they went to the marine park. As the dolphins swam along, they soon became hungry. Luckily, they chanced upon a school of fish. Wow! Look at all these fish. Click, 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 click. Quick, let's surround them before they escape. Click, 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 click. The Tan family worked really hard for their lunch. Finally, little Freddie swooped in to take a yummy bite, but careful! That's no fish. That's a plastic bottle, and it could have gotten stuck in your stomach. Yuck! Phew, that was close. Sigh, I can't even eat in peace, grumbled Freddie. After their feast, the dolphins were ready for some fun. Splish! They leapt through the water and flipped through the air. Playful Freddie soon became a game of catch, chase with May. Splosh! Seeing him coming, she slapped her tail against the water at him. Splash! After a few rounds of games, the dolphins were exhausted. But it was hard to find a spot to rest in this vast, noisy ocean. They searched far and wide before they finally found a quiet corner and fell asleep. Oh, yawn. The next day, the dolphins continued on their long journey. After hours and hours, the marine park finally came into sight. Welcome to the Sisters Island Marine Park. The pod rushed forward eagerly with May in the lead. But alas, May swam right into a fishing net. She tried and tried, but she couldn't get free. Help, she cried. Someone help me. The other dolphins rushed towards May. They tried tearing, biting, and even pulling May away from the net. But nothing worked. At that moment, Sam knew exactly what he had to do. Beep-baw, beep-baw, beep-baw. Before the dolphins knew what was going on, a kind man arrived on his boat. Two hands reached down towards the water, cut the net, and set May free. The pod rejoiced. After they gathered again, they turned to Sam in confusion and asked, "What's that blinking thing on your back?" "Oh, I'm actually a robot and I work for that man called Harry." And that was a siren to call him for help. You work for the humans? How could you? They are the ones causing all the trouble. No, not all humans are like that. There are some who are trying to make the ocean a better place. Let me show you. They followed Sam into the marine park. What a beautiful sight it was. Here is the rare Neptune's cup sponge. This sponge was dying out, but it is now protected in this marine park. Here is the giant clam, which the humans have been growing and putting back into the reef. And those are the sea anemones and the anemone fishes, which was saved and brought here. Oh, look at that. The dolphins could not believe their eyes. There were amazing creatures of all shapes and sizes who called this place their home. And most important of all, the humans were protecting this park so that they would all be safe. The pod turned to Harry with grateful tears in their eyes. With one last look, they clicked goodbye to their newfound friends and swam off into the sunset. They had finally found a home where they no longer had to be afraid. The end. Wasn't that such an amazing story, kids? Aren't dolphins such amazing creatures? And look at all the things they can do. They have a skill called echolocation, where they make high-pitched clicks sending off sound waves so they can identify objects in the surroundings even in the dark and murky waters. And like us, they can't breathe in water, so they need to go up to the surface to breathe through their blowholes. And they can even sleep while swimming. Isn't that so cool? So, would you want to live in the ocean, kids? I would, but Look at all these threats in the ocean. Can you imagine breathing in poisonous oil and gas while you're sleeping? Or even accidentally eating plastic and swimming right into drift nets? So what can we do to help? We can recycle and use less plastic on a day-to-day basis. We can always ensure to dispose of our trash properly so that it doesn't end up in the ocean. And we can participate and support environmental activities and campaigns. And we can even visit the Sister Island Marine Park to show our appreciation for Singapore's waters. And with that, thank you so much for listening to this story. And if you want to read more books just like this, you can head over to Raffles Ecological Literacy Program's website to read books just like this. Thank you.
Wasn't that a great story, kids? Did you enjoy it? I hope you liked the story, and I hope you really liked the way our dear Sunshine told that story. Shann's an amazing storyteller, and she's been volunteering with us for such a long time. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Yay! Thank you very much, Shann Shine. Now, as I mentioned before, kids and parents, that story was given to us by the Raffles Eco Literacy Program. And it's such an interesting program. It's something that we can all get involved with if you'd like to learn how to tell stories, because the Eco-Lit students, as they're called, are involved in every stage of the book's development. So they conduct interviews, they'll do reconnaissance on location, so they'll get to go into the wild and observe and watch these animals. They'll do all sorts of things from discussions on subject matters, and then ultimately they define what the environmental message is and what the aims of the book is going to be. They learn storytelling, writing techniques, and finally they actually write and plan the desired stories and illustrations for their books. So they learn a whole raft of techniques and storytelling styles, and then are able to put it together in this amazing, amazing story format. Now, it would be wonderful to have all of you get involved with these kinds of programs, which helps you to inspire not just your friends and not just younger children or older children, but even grown-up adults and many people that don't know these components of these wild spaces and wild places. And it would be a wonderful opportunity for us to all get involved. So once again, we'd like to very much thank the Raffles Eco Literacy Program for letting us use this book. Now, you'll be able to find their link to go onto their website and see 24 other books that they have at the moment. And of course, they keep adding to their portfolio of stories that you can watch and listen to and read. And it will be lovely to have more of you involved in telling these stories. As I mentioned before, it's not always just the format of written word to tell stories, or the way amazing Shann Shine told stories. There are many, many other ways. It could be through pictures or paintings or drawings, or maybe even little sculptures and photography that you could put together. And we'd love to have you featured on our Jane Goodall storytelling sessions. So if you do it, ask your mummies and daddies to get in touch with us over our social media or on our website, or you can email us and share it with us so that we can share it with all of you, the rest of our wonderful audience. Talking of different ways of telling stories, we have another one coming up right now, and it's by our dear friends once again at the Lasalle College of the Arts. They've once again put a wonderful animation for us to enjoy, and this one is called Banded Together. So I hope you enjoy the story.
My name is Miguel. I am from Lasalle College of the Arts, and this year for the community engagement class, we were to collaborate with the Jane Goodall Institute of Singapore. Working with JGIS was really fun, to be honest, because when we discussed and we did our research, it was interesting to see how dedicated they were to talking about this kind of topic, and getting information was quite easy, because like emailing them anytime for if I have any questions specifically about the Langer, they would give it right away, instantly, and which was very helpful in our research to plan how the animation would work. Our video is called Banded Together, and it's about Raffles Banded Langer growing up and finding out about things that it doesn't really understand. For example, its main obstacle, it is road in the way. By us telling the story towards the children, they can not only interpret what we're trying to say in a colorful and friendly style, how you as an audience, like kids itself, can understand like, hey, what can I do to do my part to help these unique monkey species? Singapore has their own ways to participate, even for their everyday man, just help out. For example, like the Langers need help in their survey group, where any person can just come in and do some research just to know more about these unique monkeys. So when it comes to research, it was quite amazing actually. We planned for a physical monkey walk where we got to walk in their habitat and got to see eye to eye how they physically act and react to people around them. So we had one of our members create the asset, and the others were part of planning stages. Some were to composite the scenes, and some were to actually animate. To thank Singapore Eco Film Festival for allowing us to participate in your event, and everyone else who's helped out in participating in this project, including the JGIS, Raffles Bandar Langer Facebook group, and my teammates, to show like how compassionate we are for this project.
Deep in the forests of Singapore, a unique monkey travels through the canopy. Covered in black and white fur, this monkey is a Raffles banded langer, the largest of the 3 primates native to Singapore. While this little guy travels, he encounters a little problem. With no options left, he resorts to something langers are known not to do, venturing down to the forest floor. But how did we get to this point? Way back when our friend was still a white furry baby, things were different. It depended mostly on his mother, whom he clung onto while she swung from branch to branch, with no road in the way. His mother travels in a group of 9, but when the time comes, he'll have to find a family of his own. Having no one to rely on anymore, he'll have to find his own food. The Raffles banded langer mostly eat small leaves and various fruits. They are able to digest them with a special stomach that has many folds. But our langer is feeling lonely. He wants to find some friends that are not his family. Which is why our langer is pressed with the conflicting issue of traveling via the forest floor. Luckily, out of the corner of his eye, he spots his salvation, an ecolink, a safe way for our furry friend to travel. Not everyone can build a bridge, but together we can do our part to help. By preserving our green spaces, we can not only help our langer friends, but help our native wildlife as a whole. This video was made with the help of the Jane Goodall Institute Singapore and the Raffles banded langer Working Group. JGIS helps coordinate the Citizen Science program, in which the citizen scientists head out to the nature reserve to find and observe the langers. The data collected is then analyzed and used to advise conservation strategies. If you are keen, visit the Facebook group for more details.
Well, that was a great story, wasn't it, kids? Didn't you enjoy the animation that was done by the students of Lasalle College of the Arts? Did you like Banded Together? Maybe you can comment and tell us your thoughts on it. Or if you have any questions about the Raffles banded langurs or any of our other primates and other wild animals, even the dolphins, you can pop them in our question bar and we will answer them as we're going along. So can we give the students of LaSalle College of the Arts a round of applause and say thank you very much for that story? We'll have many more stories coming from them every month for our storytelling sessions, so stay tuned for them. Now, kids, as we mentioned before, we love to tell stories, and I'm sure you love to tell stories too. You might not even realize that you're telling stories all the time. And we'd love to hear some of those stories ourselves. Talking of telling stories, we have one last one. At the beginning of this session, I told you that our founder, Dr. Jane Goodall, feels that it's very important for us to tell stories. It's a very, very effective way for us to learn and teach people about the things that we have learned about animals, about the universe, and everything that there is within it. So right now, we're telling you these stories, and we have a special treat for you. It's our founder herself, Dr. Jane Goodall, that's going to tell you the next story. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, here's Dr. Jane again to read you another story. This time, The Eagle and the Wren. It's a fable retold by me and illustrated by Alexander. Once upon a time, long, long ago, the birds got into an argument about who could fly the highest. "I can fly so high," said the skylark, "that I become just a tiny speck in the sky, and then I disappear altogether. You can only hear my voice, my beautiful song. I can fly the highest." "No, no, no," said the dove. "I can fly the highest. I was sent by Noah to search for signs at the ending of the great flood. From high in the sky, I flew to pick the olive branch that has become a symbol of peace. I can fly the highest." "I can fly even higher," said the vulture. "I circle up and up and up until I can look across half the world. That's how I see my dinner, the animals who have died. I can fly the highest." "You're all wrong," said the majestic eagle. "I'm the king of the birds. My wings are strong, my heart is great. I fly far above the world and look down to see all that is going on below. I can fly the highest." "Be silent, all of you," said the wise owl. "We will have a contest for all the birds. We will find out just how high each one of us can fly." So all the birds took to the air. There was a great flapping of wings and squawking and calling and hooting and croaking. Can you imagine all the birds flying up together? Wish I'd been there. Some of the birds didn't fly very high at all. They quickly came back to earth. They were a bit sad, but the ostrich welcomed them. "You've all done as well as nature intended," he said. "You all have wings, but each of you flies to a different height for a different purpose. After all," he added, "I can't fly at all, and I'm certainly not ashamed of that. I use my wings in a beautiful dance that wins me my bride." Some of the birds flew very high indeed. But after a while, many of them grew tired and could fly no higher. So they came back to earth. The vulture saw a dead animal and was suddenly so hungry he dived down and out of the contest. But a few birds were able to keep on flying. Eventually, the skylark and the dove came down too. They just couldn't go any higher. In the end, they could only see one bird still up in the sky. So high, he seemed to be almost in heaven. It was the eagle, of course. Finally, even he could fly no higher. Tired but proud, he hovered way, way up in the sky. "I knew I would win," he said to himself. But as the mighty eagle soared high above the earth, something crept out from among his thick feathers. To the eagle's amazement, he saw a tiny bird, the little wren, flying even higher than he was. He tried and tried to get above her, but he was too tired. "How did you fly so high?" he asked her. She laughed, a tiny little laugh, because she was such a tiny little bird. "You carried me all the way," she said. "I couldn't have flown so high by myself. But don't worry, you won the contest." "I always wondered what the world looked like from high, high up at the top of the sky. Now I know. I shall always remember this. Thank you so much." When they got back to earth, they told their story to the other birds. The owl praised them both. "Together, you've set a new record," he told them. "With your strong wings and determination, mighty eagle, and with your dreaming and your quick brain, little wren, you have flown to a height never reached by any bird before." And then, what does that all mean for us? When we were small, my sister Judy and I had a story read to us every night. This is one of those stories, and I still love it. It's like an illustration of our life on Earth. None of us can fly very high by ourselves. We all need an eagle. We need the help of other people as we struggle upward. I've been very fortunate in my life. I've been helped by many, many people. Wonderful friends, the students who help collect the information about chimpanzees, the supporters who help to carry out our various projects, and those who help us raise the money for them. My terrific family, my grandmother, my aunts, and my sister, and most especially my mother. They have been there to help and guide me during my life. I like to think of all these people as the feathers on my eagle. Each one has played an important role. Some of them are like big, strong feathers. I think my mother is the center tail feather, helping to steer me in the right direction. Some people are the strong wing feathers, beating the air. Others are the soft, downy feathers that nestle around you when you're tired and old. Each one is valued. And what about the eagle? I suppose we all have different eagles, but I know that my eagle is part of the great spirit power that I feel all around us, from which I can draw strength and energy when most I need it. I thank my eagle for carrying me so high.
Wasn't that such a wonderful story, kids? Wasn't it great to hear the amazing Dr. Jane Goodall telling us that story, The Eagle and the Wren, and how amazingly she tells stories and how much we can learn from such an incredible lady and have continued to learn for so many years. We are all very grateful, and I think we should give her another round of applause for telling us that wonderful story. Don't you think, kids? Didn't you enjoy it? Well, guess what? There's many more stories like that coming up every month. You just have to stay tuned, and you'll hear more stories from the students of Lasalle College of the Arts, from some of our wonderful storytellers like Shann Shine, and with Ida being able to give us these amazing signs so that everyone can follow the stories. And of course, so many more stories from Dr. Jane Goodall herself. Now, kids, as we mentioned before, we'd love to hear some of your stories. You can come along and be a storyteller like Shann Shine. You can contribute to our stories. You can come and join us on monkey walks and monkey talks. We have lots of activities at the Jane Goodall Institute in Singapore. And it's not just for you, kids. It's for mummies and daddies too. So, mummies and daddies, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer with us, you can find our details in the chat group or below. You can find us on our website, on our social media. We would love to have you volunteer some of your time with us for a truly incredible cause. All of us here are volunteers. There's all of us that you've seen on screen today, but there are many more behind the scenes. Everyone from Tanya and Connell that do an incredible job of helping us put together these storytelling sessions, and the many others and their many hours that they contribute to help make sure that the Jane Goodall Institute is running here in Singapore and contributing towards the community and society. We would love for you to be a part of that. Of course, mummies and daddies, we are a charitable organization, and we depend quite strongly on charitable donations. So if you are feeling particularly generous, please do donate whatever you feel you can to help us continue the work that we're doing in conservation, ecology, and storytelling. And there are many other ways you can get involved. You can join us on your monkey walks and your monkey talks. If you're good at social media or any other skill set you have, we can really use those skill sets and the time that you have to be able to contribute towards the cause. Of course, if you're involved in corporates and large organizations, or small organizations for that matter, We can come along and do private storytelling sessions. There's a host and raft of different activities that we can do to help, and we would love to hear from you. So please do get in touch with us. Now, mummies and daddies and kids, that brings us to the end of this September storytelling edition from us, the volunteers of the Jane Goodall Institute. So from all of us here, we hope you enjoyed this session, and we are very much looking forward to seeing you next time. So from Ida and from me, Safari Sid, see you next time.